Let's see, what did you post? Because should read it. Where's the agenda?
I will put it up in just a moment.
Eris, sorry. I'm sure you emailed it over to me, but I'm just. There we go.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and text Hannah very quickly just to see if she'll be late. And we'll get the meeting started. Okay, well, we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order at 6:03 p.m. We are recording and we're streaming to YouTube. And we will start with attendance. I, Catherine Hutton, the chair, I am here. Hannah is not on yet. And Nick.
He's here.
And if you hear my cat being a jerk, that might happen a few times. And if at some point I suddenly disappear from this, you'll know that he stepped on the laptop. All right. First item on the agenda is review and approve committee minutes. Motion A, approve the GTLNC August 10th, 2021 Environmental Affairs Committee minutes. Draft minutes can be found at gtlnc.org. Do I have a first?
You do.
Thank you, Nick.
First.
And I will second, Catherine. Since we only have two people here, that'll have to do. Any discussion on the matter? If you are a member of the public, feel free to use the raise hand function if you have any comments on the minutes. And if anyone wants to see the minutes, they are available on the website. They are also on the screen here.
Yep.
All right. Seeing no hands go up. All right, I guess we'll do a vote on motion A to approve the August 10th minutes. Nick, how do you vote?
Yes.
I'm a yes as well. Motion carries 2-0-0, which brings us to the public comment section of this. So if you are one of the, looks like 3 public attendees, feel free to use the raise hand function to speak on something that is not already on the agenda. We do have a couple items on the agenda later on in the meeting. If it's a comment about those, please save it for that time. And if you are calling in, you can dial *9 in order to raise your hand. Do we have any public comment? I do not see any hands going up. So we will move on to committee member news and announcements. I do not have any news and announcements at the moment. Nick, do you have any news and announcements related to the Environmental Committee?
I do not.
All right, and let's dive into the real meat of our agenda this evening, which is our motion B. And I'll read the motion. We'll get a first and second if we want to actually have this discussion. And once we have the first and second, we'll proceed to discussing the item. So motion B, to approve a letter of action requesting the City of Los Angeles implement specific policies as part of a just transition to 100% clean energy by 2030. Do I have a first?
Yes.
And Hannah is joining right now, so I'll see if she wants to be the second. Otherwise, I will be the second.
Say that
Hannah.
again. I was just re-logged back in.
No problem. We were just beginning motion B to approve a letter of action requesting the City of LA implement specific policies as part of a just transition to 100% clean energy by 2030. Nick was a first. Do you want to be second? To
Yes.
Open discussion?
This is the one you sent, right? Yes, I do.
Yes. This is a letter. All
Okay.
right. Great. So I know Vicky looks like she is on the call. So Vicky, if you want to give a little background on this, you brought this one to us. You are able to unmute yourself if you would like to.
Great, thanks. Yes.
We can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Great, okay. So I would just, some exciting things have happened since the last meeting. On September 1st, LA City Council unanimously approved the motion that this letter referred to. However, everything in this letter is still quite relevant because they didn't say how, right? They passed that, like you could keep the letter all the same and just make the first sentence on September 1st, LA City Council unanimously passed a motion to get LADWP to get us to 100% clean energy by 2035 based on the LA 100 renewable energy studies. They did pass it, but everything else here is still quite relevant, saying that we need to invest in our people. We should not rely on renewable energy credits. In fact, your Sustainability Alliance of the Neighborhood Councils just weighed in on that, I believe. And the Energy Committee of LA City Council is in favor of that, of not getting there with simply buying our way into it by getting credit. And the rest of that paragraph is still very relevant of how we would get there, you know, and the main, I think the main thrust of Food and Water Watch's the main thrust of why, you know, why they wrote the letter and so forth, is they really want those local gas plants to be transitioned away from. And if we simply buy renewable energy credits, we could keep those open and have a lot of other dirty fuels and things that would technically get us to 100%, but aren't really clean and don't serve our communities. So I would suggest that we would send the letter as is, but amend the first sentence, and possibly at the very end, it says by 2030. And since council did just pass, they passed to get us there by 2035, you might just change that to that for the moment. I certainly would like to see us get there earlier, but that is what just passed.
Okay, so your recommendation would be this first sentence, instead of saying with LA having completed the 4-year-long LA 100 renewable energy study, the city is now facing a choice for what its long-term plan for moving to clean energy will look like. You would say, you know, having completed the 4-year LA 100 renewable energy study and passing council file number, insert number here, the city is now facing a choice for what its long-term plan for moving to clean energy will look like?
Sure, yes, because that's exactly it. That's the big change, that they've given that direction, but in that LA 100 report, there are different pathways. And it's really important how LADWP goes forward. I was very disappointed at council to hear LADWP talking so much about green hydrogen. I think that could be a small part, but it certainly shouldn't be as significant as they're talking about. So there's still a lot of ways for us to weigh in and also to hold the utility accountable, right? Just because you pass this doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen. So it's really up to us to be vigilant.
Well, there's, I mean, a tremendous amount of infrastructure that goes along with this, of course, but yeah, I think it's a great idea.
And I think that the study has shown that it can be done and that it's, it's totally doable and is actually in many ways, it makes sense in an economic standpoint as well. So
Sure it does.
now we've got, now we've got data, we have pathways there and it really can be done.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I would say let's make a motion. I am moving to amend the letter to change the first sentence to read, with LA having completed the 4-year-long LA 100 renewable energy study and the city council having passed council file 21-0352 on September 1st, 2021, comma, the city is now facing ... all of that rest stays the same. How do we feel about making that change?
I'm good with that.
Nick, you
That's
good
fine.
with that?
Yeah, I don't need, I mean, yeah. It's up to you.
Yeah, I mean, as the first and second, I have to check with you if you're
Of
good
course.
with
Yeah. No, I was just saying, I hope we don't have to go through the whole process again. I was just thinking in my head. But
No, it's easy when we only have to check with 2 people.
Catherine, in that same amendment, do you want to amend to 2035 at the end of the letter
Yes, let's go ahead and do that.
to line up with them?
Yes,
Okay.
that sounds great. Okay, great. Well, I mean, I think personally, I would support submitting this letter of action, and making sure that we follow up with our council member on it so that it doesn't just go into a pile, because obviously the action has already been taken by city council. So even if we submitted it as a CIS, there's no opportunity to speak at a hearing at this point. But I think this letter of action, especially if we include follow-up related to it, would be good. There has been a lot of discussion in the environmental community about the fact that these sort of paying for carbon offsets, that does not solve the problem. We are, as I think Vicky said it best, we're not going to pay our way out of this. Or maybe Vicky didn't say that. Maybe I'm just remembering an article I read the other day. The solution is not going to be throwing money at places that aren't where we are right now. We need to make our investments in the communities that are here. Do we have any further discussion? Again, if you're a member of the public that would like to speak on this before we vote, please use the raise hand function. And if you're calling in, please dial *9 to raise your hand. I do not see any hands up. Nick, Hannah, how do we feel about moving to a vote on motion B?
Sounds good to me.
Yep.
Okay. So I'll read the motion B as amended: to approve a letter of action requesting the city of LA implement specific policies as part of a just transition to 100% clean energy by 2035. That is the amendment, the 2035 part. All right, on motion B, how do you vote? Hannah?
Yes.
Nick?
Yes.
And Catherine is a yes as well. Motion carries 300. Just a note for everyone's awareness, this motion and the letter will still have to go to our general board meeting, which will be meeting a week from today at 7 o'clock on Tuesday, October 19th on the same Zoom meeting ID. If anyone would like to attend that meeting as well. So once it passes the general board meeting, if it passes the general board meeting, it would be submitted as a letter of action to, and just to clarify all of the different groups that it is addressed to, Mayor Garcetti and the members of the city council. All right. Thank you all so much. And thank you so much, Vicki from Food and Water Watch, for bringing this to us.
I can attend the general meeting as well.
That would be amazing. I really appreciate it if you're able to make time.
Great. Yeah, I think I can. I'll plan on it.
Thanks so much.
Thanks.
Okay. Next up is LA Trips Without a Car, the GTLNC newsletter series. And I'll stop sharing my screen for now because that's not really exciting to just see the agenda up. I figured it was helpful when we were dealing with actual text on a motion. So I figure for now, rather than necessarily using the time on the meeting just because it's so short, to actually establish all the different ways that we are going to route people to these locations, let's decide on the 6 locations that we want to highlight over the next few weeks. And once we get those together, we can offline make the little like infographics of here's how you get there from the Toluca Lake area. And Hannah, you sent me a fantastic list of places that you think people would like to get to.
Not that I've thought about this ever.
Do you want me to just read out the list that you sent?
Sure. And just to note, one of the reasons I chose the places I chose was specifically to cover the gambit of different ways that you can get around our neighborhood and the city. So it was very specifically chosen to make sure that we're kind of getting the different types of public transit in there.
Okay. I am not entirely sure what just happened, but I've been signed out of Zoom. Are you guys still hearing me?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Then we're fine. Hopefully it's still working. Okay, so you made a really fantastic list, which was the Burbank Town Center and the theaters there, the movie theaters, SoFi Stadium or Staples Center, the Hollywood Farmers Market, the medical centers on Riverside Drive. And you even added a little bit about, using Metro Micro to get to the North Hollywood station, using the Burbank bus, and the different options that you have to get to those. And I guess just a very quick background on what this is, because I didn't go over it. I assumed everyone just knew. We are creating a series to go out in the GTLNC newsletter to give people a little more information, just a basic infographic about here's how you would get to places of interest in and around LA from Toluca Lakes without getting in your personal vehicle. So, Metro Micro is this really great rideshare service that the LA Metro now offers to get you to transit stops from a small local area. And you might have to walk to the end of your street, as Hannah said before, but you don't have to, walk a mile to get to a stop. It's, a block away for them to pick you up.
They have expanded it. So it's literally any metro stop, meaning all bus stops as well. So you can get literally almost anywhere within, it's from Burbank Airport all the way down to 101, all the way over. I think it goes all the way over to Hunga, and then all the way to downtown Burbank. So anywhere in that area, you can have an on-demand rideshare service to any bus stop, any metro stop, any train stop for $1.
What about the airport? Can I take that to the airport?
You can get like right to the base of the airport and then you have to walk a little ways. So if you have like a giant bag, it might not be a great, it might not be a great service, but if you're bringing a carry-on, yeah, and you have to walk like maybe half a mile to get to the actual airport, it drops you off just below because there's an Amtrak stop there.
Because
Yeah.
they'll tag you for $60, man. If they'll just to hear from like round
And-
trip. But
So there's
And I would say
also-
those are great suggestions for how to get to the Burbank airport and to LAX. And, you know,
Mhm.
LAX has the fantastic flyaway,
fly away. Oh, I love it. Do it every time.
which I love. I can't speak highly enough about it.
My favorite new Metro micro use, and actually I forgot to put this in there, is it can take you to the Empire Center. So like Target, Ulta, like that chaotic REI, that chaotic freaking parking lot, you can get dropped off right at the bus stop just outside the Empire Center. Never have to drive.
And
It's,
There
they'll
you go.
pick you back up again.
yep. That's like right at the edge of the boundary, but it is within the boundary. So you get dropped off basically right behind REI. You can dash right across to Target, Lowe's, Ulta, whatever you need, Men's Warehouse, REI, and then hop right back on the Metro Micro, and it's completely on. It's
There you go.
amazing. I'm obsessed with this service.
Yeah,
And they're
I mean,
big vans. You can like carry stuff if you need to.
yeah, there's a Costco there.
Hmm?
I would say maybe let's also think about some more touristy stuff, like, you
Yeah.
know, going to LACMA or
Yes,
to
LACMA.
LA Zoo and the Autry Museum, or even to the beach. Like
Yeah.
maybe how to do a beach day without having to deal with parking.
I debated putting Santa Monica on there. I didn't know if taking the Expo line all the way down to the beach would be too scary for people, but it's great. I
I've done
love
it.
it.
I love it. It's great. Well, what's scary about it?
Just it's long. It's a long trip.
It's
So if you're
Yeah.
you're putting in like the time that it takes, although it's either that or sitting in bumper to bumper traffic for an hour. So
Well,
especially if you want to go during the week, it's a great option. So
so why don't we do maybe one that's in the downtown area, like Staples, or SoFi.
SoFi is
One-
pretty far south. It's not downtown.
No,
That's
I
why
don't go to
did-
sports.
I don't go to sports.
I did SoFi is
So-
SoFi
What's
is
one of the
football,
sports?
American football. So I figured there might be a lot of football fans that might want to know that they can get down there and they can drink without having to worry about who's driving home.
There'll be some
Great
concerts
benefit
at
of
SoFi
public
Stadium as
transit.
well.
Yeah, concerts. Bank of California Stadium is also an option. I go there all the time on the Metro, both for concerts and for LAFC games, and then obviously Staples Center. So
Okay, well, why don't we do one in downtown? That's Staples Center.
Okay.
We'll do one in Hollywood, the Farmers Market, which of course gets you to basically all of Hollywood if you want, the Montalban, we can do one to Burbank.
yep.
Both of
That's
the
also it.
airports.
I'm excited about that one because that was part of the bus redesign. It used to be hell to get to downtown Burbank, but now between Metro Micro and the redesigned bus lines, it's easy as fuck. Sorry, excuse my French.
Let's not be speaking French on these.
It's easy as pie.
Why does everyone say French with that word? It's funny.
I don't know. But it's the thing.
Well, because if you are speaking French, that word just means manatee.
Oh, what does it mean?
Manatee.
Oh, does it
It's
really?
spelled with a PH.
did
PH
not know
O Q U E, I think.
Oh,
Yes.
the origin of
That's
that
probably
thing.
not the origin of that particular phrase, but fun fact. Okay, so, and then we'll do the two airports. And do we want to do one longer trip to like Santa Monica?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I like that. Let's do that.
Okay. Public comment on that matter? Anyone have other ideas that they'd really like us to cover? Places you'd like to have someone else trip plan for you? I do not see any hands up. A reminder, if you're calling in, to please dial *9 if you want to raise your hand. All right. Well,
are we doing LAX and Burbank Airport as two separate posts, or are we doing like airports? Here's how you get there.
Let's do that.
I mean, I guess we could put them in the same newsletter to be like, hey, at some point you're going to want to fly. Here's how you get to both of them.
Okay.
I think that works. All right. Well, we don't have a ton of time left before exec, so I wanted to just quickly touch on the two other items in our new business, which are, we're always looking for council actions, city council actions that we'd like to make community impact statements on, or if there are any letters of action people would like us to write to the city council asking them to do something. And we are looking for someone to be our Neighborhood Council Sustainability Alliance and CSA rep for GTLNC. You do not have to be a board member of the GTLNC to be our NCSA rep. So if anyone is interested in that, please get in touch with me. It's catherine.hatton@gtlnc.org. And do we have any other new business, anything else that we need to discuss this evening or that folks would like us to work on in the future with the environmental committee? Anyone that's just joined, by the way, you're still in the environmental committee meeting. Exec will be starting in 2 minutes.
Oh, with the same link, so I can just stay here. Okay, cool.
You'll have to sign out. We're going to close this meeting, open a new one.
Okay. All right, I got to run upstairs real quick for 2 seconds. Am I need the rest of this? Are we good?
No, we're going to go ahead and close environmental and end the meeting. You guys will have to sign back in with the Zoom link again to join back. But thank you all for coming. Meeting adjourned for environmental at 6:28 p.m. Thank you all.
You. Take care.
All right. Thanks.